Hey, good morning, cats. Not the day I was hoping for. I had two options to ride today to meet this morning. One was to ride about an hour south of here to meet up with some Christian bikers. The other one was to ride about a half hour west of here and meet up with a buddy to go on a VFW run. Unfortunately, those both have been canceled, so due to the rain. But you know what? We needed the rain anyways. My garden needed watered. I don't know if you can see the garden over there. It's doing pretty good. I got it all weeded out, and the plants are finally starting to take off. My hanging flowers are doing nice over there. I've got basil and rosemary in here that's starting to pick up. I've been watching Jenny Wren out my kitchen window here. This little can up here, she's building a nest in there, and she comes in there numerous times a day with sticks in her little beak, and then tries to figure out how to get those sticks in that hole. And sometimes she really struggles with it, but I really enjoy watching that. She's something else. She's here every year. Yeah, little Wren. I hate rainy days because it's kind of a lack of things to do. I can't ride the bike. I can't work in the yard. I'm stuck in the house. So, I took care of my chores. I did laundry, vacuumed, took care of all the housework. Now I can come out in the garage and play around. And I don't know what I'm going to do out here, but I'll find something to do. Anyway, I wanted to ask you guys, on your bike, considering you have a bike, what's your favorite improvement that you've ever made to your bike, if any? I can tell you a couple of mine. I think one of the biggest improvements I ever did was my seat. Now, the original saddle on this thing was hard as a rock. I rode all over the country on that thing, and my butt, it was like sitting on a brick. It was very uncomfortable. And then when I was out in Sturgis, I saw this guy that took the seats, and he took them all apart, and he put a gel pad in there, and then he put them back together again. And I thought about it, but the thing was, you'd have to take your seat and give it to him, and then your seat would be there for at least a day or two. And when you're out in Sturgis, you're going to ride. You're not going to be without a seat. I mean, what would you do without your seat for 2 days while you're on vacation in Sturgis? So I thought, well, I'm not going to do that, but I kept it in the back of my mind. Well, there's a lady that lives, probably about 12 miles from here, that does like biker upholstery stuff. Like, she does like saddlebags, leather. She does sewed all the patches on your jackets and stuff. So she's done work for me before. And so I went down there and I asked her, I said, what would you think about redoing my seat? And she said, yeah, I can redo your seat. And I said, well, I'd like to have my seat redone because the original seat, this vinyl on here was cracked and you could see the stuffing underneath it. And so she said, well, I'll take the seat apart and I'll put new vinyl on there and I'll make it, like brand new again. And I said, well, here's something else too I'd like you to do. Can you put a gel pad in there? She said, absolutely, I can put a gel pad in there. So what she would do is she put all new foam underneath there, and then she cuts out the area and puts the gel pad in there, and then she puts the the leather back over it again, or the vinyl. I don't think it's real leather. This is real leather, this outer skirt. She didn't replace that. She left that. She just replaced this top part here. That made my seat a million times more comfortable. I can ride all day. My butt's fine, you know. Not only did she did that, but she did the passenger seat too. Now, I know V used to ride right here on the fender originally, but as time went on, we took the pillion seat, and it was probably an inch or so thicker. So she made it a little thinner because V didn't want to be sticking up. V was a tall girl, and she didn't like to be sticking way up above my head. So they made this seat just a little more narrow or thinner, and she put a gel pad in that too. So V liked that. It was very comfortable for her. So again, that was one of the biggest improvements I think I've ever done on my bike that I really appreciated doing. Another thing I wanted to add, when I was in the Philippines, you know, we rented the Honda Click scooters for about 3 days. Those things are weird. You know, I mean, the scooter, you have this floorboard right across the middle there where you put your feet. And that, when you're used to riding on a Harley, that's kind of weird. But the other thing I didn't like about it was the seat. You know, I had this little narrow seat, but the seat sloped forward. So when I was sitting on it, I always felt like, you know, I had to keep pushing myself back. And then again, it was one of those hard as a rock seats. And after we rode all day on that thing, couldn't wait to get off of that scooter. And practically limping when I got off of that thing because that seat was so doggone hard. Probably the second thing that I liked was replacing the windshield. Now, I had this, I called it my grandpa windshield. It was a much higher windshield. So as you can see, you know, it stuck up probably about 4 or 5 inches higher than this new one. And this new one is tinted. So I believe it's a Memphis Shades. I think this was two, but this one caught a lot of wind resistance. You know, when I was out on the highway. And you could really feel, you know, the wind hitting you when you went down the road. Once I replaced it with this one, there was a big difference. A lot less wind resistance. And really, tit for tat, it protects me from the wind just as much as the other one. I mean, it's really, I couldn't even hardly tell the difference because the wind will hit this and the wind kind of shoots up and over your head. So that is the second biggest improvement I've ever done to my bike. Now, a lot of guys just keep throwing money into their bike, and I've never been one to do that. I have added some things to it over the years, but pretty much just kind of nickel and dimed it. I've never really dumped a lot of money into it. The engine is all original. I never beefed up the motor. It's got the 80 cubic inch motor. Runs like a top. One of the best motors Harley ever made, the 80 inch Evo. That thing will run all day. Anyway, yeah, I mean, little things like the fender tip thing, these little nacelle things that go over the headlights. I did replace the headlight with the LED, and that was a huge improvement. I mean, my old one, it was, you know, the original stock headlight. It was lucky if you could see a car's length in front of you. I didn't like that. I didn't know there was going to be such a big difference. I put this LED headlight on there, and when I have it on my bright lights, I can see traffic signs a half a mile away. They light up like Christmas trees. I mean, this thing really illuminates the road. So I guess there's three things that I did that are really big improvements that I really liked about this bike. But like I said, a lot of guys will just keep throwing junk on their bike. I saw a guy the other day. I had to shake my head because he had the great big crash bars on the front of his Harley, and he also had a crash bars in the back here too. And I'm like, dude, do you think maybe you could add like a roll bar on the thing too? To me, it was almost like he had training wheels on his bike. I mean, I don't know. I mean, some of you guys got crash bars on there, and you like to put your highway pegs up on there, and there's nothing wrong with that either. But I never was a big fan of those crash bars. Those big. I don't know. They just make your bike wider for one thing. My brother learned about that with his adventure bike. He had he's got the big like aluminum saddlebags on each side of his Africa Twin, and he didn't realize how wide that thing is with the both of the cases on there, and he was going through a narrow pass, and the one bag caught, and it stopped him cold. I mean, it took the whole bike sideways and dumped him right on the asphalt, and he skinned himself up a little bit. And I like my bike. I don't want my bike any wider than it actually is right now. So, to add those big crash bar things on there, really make a huge difference in the width of your motorcycle. Don't like them. I never was one for the highway pegs either, so I don't have those on my bike. Guys that have them really love them. I see them going down the road with their feet sticking way out on the side, getting a little wind on their junk, But I don't know. I don't need that. I'm comfortable. I've got the footboards. I can move my feet around on there a little bit. I can put my foot all the way up to the front. I can move it all the way to the back. There's some leeway there in how I have my foot placement on there. I like them. A buddy of mine had footboards on his bike. He took them off and just put the forward controls on his because he likes to ride with his feet stretched out. And whatever's comfortable for you, whatever works for you. My God, more junk on my tank. I try to keep this tank clean and free of scratches and dents, but it's like every time I go out and ride, something else gets nicked up on it or something. I think rocks come up from the road and hit it. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, no ride today. 2 rides I had planned today. The one I was going to ride down to Massillon, Ohio, and meet up with some Christian bikers down there, and I don't know where we were going to go from there. I do know they said they wanted to eat lunch somewhere, so that was kind of the main objective of going down there and meeting up with them and then riding somewhere for a good lunch. The other one was, and that was the one that I'd actually committed to, that I forgot about, was a VFW run, and that was over in Wellington, Ohio. But the rain canceled everything out, so I got the message that, hey, no ride today. I was like, well, I don't want to ride in the rain, but I was looking forward to riding with some new people, along with the VFW bunch. I don't know which one I was going to do, though. I couldn't make up my mind. I probably would have ended up going on the VFW run because I had already committed to it. But sometimes I'd rather go on a ride that doesn't have like a specific destination. Like you go on a poker run, and there's like these checkpoints that you have to find and stop at. And if you're not familiar with the route, and I don't have a navigation system, I do have a thing where I could clamp my cell phone onto the handlebar, but I just don't like fidgeting with my phone when I'm riding. And I tried it one time, and the phone, after a few minutes, the phone screen goes dark, and you can't see it anyway. And then you're trying. I suppose there's an adjustment I could put on there that would stay lit the whole time, but then drain your battery too. But I don't always know where the checkpoints are. Some of them are different taverns or different VFW halls. And when you're going to ride, 50 miles away to some VFW hall you've never been to before, you don't know how to get there. The one you could only get to from a one-way street, and you had to go all the way around the block and come in the other way to get there. And I'm following people that got lost too that didn't know how to get in there. So, yeah, but when you're just going for a ride with some guys, you don't have to worry about that. Like, you don't have to worry about following a GPS to know, okay, where we got to go. Oh, we got to turn up here. Wait a minute, we missed a turn. We got to turn around and go back. You ever do that? You're riding with a group of guys, and the first guy pulls off, and they all pull off on the side of the road, and he goes, "Hey, I got to turn around. It's about a mile back that way. We were supposed to hit, Route 30. Yeah, been there, done that. And, of course, if you ever followed me, I probably got you lost, too. So my preference is not always to do a poker run, is what I'm getting at. I just rather go riding. And preferably, I like to ride solo, but I also like to ride with my good friends that are good riders, that I know, that I trust, that I know they know how to ride, and, we all stay out of trouble. Another thing I wanted to add, I wanted to thank you guys for the comments on my last video. I was complaining about the GoPro camera, and you guys had some really good suggestions for me. I think this GoPro is going to be a thing of the past. I did look at the DJI cameras, and that looks like a really interesting prospect. I might look into that more, but I already have the Insta360 camera. And I just need to get off my rear end and use it, because you guys have told me it's a lot better camera than this one. But thanks for all that information. That means a lot to me, because I can read reviews all day long, but when I hear it from you guys, at least I know I'm getting it from the horse's mouth. Anyway, cats, I appreciate you hanging with me on this lousy rainy day. And we'll get back on the bike. Tomorrow morning, if it's not raining, the bike's going out of the garage and heading down the road with me on it. So I think the weather is going to clear up a little bit, but we'll go from there. Well, I'm going to head back in the house and see if I can find something to do until this rain lets up. Well, it was a wasted day. We're into the evening now, and the rain stopped maybe an hour or two ago. Things have dried up a little bit, but it could have been nice this morning instead of pouring down rain all morning. I did a little work out here in the yard. I don't know if you remember, this area here was one great big mud puddle. It held water every time it rained. And I just got tired of, I couldn't get any grass to grow there. So last week I ordered 3 yards of topsoil. The guy backed in here, dumped a pile there. I shoveled, spread it all out, raked it all out, seeded it, and threw some straw mulch on there. The problem I've been having is, for the past 3 nights, well, prior to that, maybe a night or two before, these raccoons would come in at night and dig holes all through my seed area. I don't know what they're digging for, but I had holes all over the place. So I came out to one day and I sprinkled cayenne pepper all over this, thinking that'll fix them. I come out the next day, they had it all dug up again. Doggone it. So last night I set up this live trap. I thought, well, I'll catch that little bugger, I'll catch him in my trap. and I had the trap sitting over here. I put a bone in there and some peanut butter for bait on the trip lever. I came out, nothing was in there this morning. But there was coyote tracks all the way around it, and it was obvious that the coyotes were trying to get in. They didn't trip the thing, but they were actually trying to get in through the back here, and there's nothing they could do. They couldn't get in there, so the raccoons never showed up though, just a coyote. And then to add insult to injury, the deer walked through here. Now I got deer tracks, you know, in my new soil. So I don't know if the grass is going to grow or not. What's it take grass at least a week or two before it starts coming on. So hopefully within the next couple days we get some sunshine. I might see that turning green. I hope, you know. And I hope it fills in nice and thick for me so that, you know, I don't have that puddle there anymore, and it just makes my front lawn look much nicer. Well, it looks like it's going to rain again. I see some dark clouds moving across the sky. Well, cats, thanks for watching today. If you enjoyed this video, give me that like, hit that like button. If you haven't yet, please subscribe and continue to join me no matter what the weather is or where I end up. Till next time, cats, I'll catch you all later.